It's Cricbuzz chatter. Adam Collins and Michael Vaughan after the third day down at Southampton, this first test match between England and the West Indies. And Michael, the West Indies, we talked a lot about their batting in the lead up to this series, it being a fragile top six. And look, they didn't blow the house down today, but they did enough to earn themselves a 114-run first innings lead. They worked really hard today.
Yeah, impressive. They show great disciplines. They show great patience. They played the ball late, which you have to do with the English conditions against the Duke ball. They're obviously up against some high-class bowling, particularly from Jimmy Anderson in the morning session. Particularly Craig Brathwaite. If you think that he's averaged 12 in his last 10 test matches, and he came here under a lot of pressure. Well, I thought he led the way at the top of the order. Shea Hope, you know, he's still trying to find his kind of momentum in test match cricket, but he hung around there for a while. And I thought that first hour was so important for the West Indies to come out and play nicely. They didn't hit the ball to the boundary consistently, but they just made sure that they created that foundation. And then the likes of Roston Chase, who impressed me all the time. I just thought he read the situation nicely. He played with a huge amount of discipline, didn't score at a great rate of knots. Dulwich was very impressive at number 7, the way that he came out. Jermaine Blackwood, I think, probably is a frustration for all coaches, but you just know what you're going to get with him. He's going to come out flinging. But I thought they showed a huge amount of skill. As much as I mentioned discipline and patience, it was the skill levels required to bat in these conditions, and they showed a lot of it today. Yeah,
especially in that middle part of the day when West Indies lose their fifth wicket, that of Blackwood. I mean, it could go either way, couldn't it? And Dowrich coming in, having, of course, only made 24 runs in the corresponding series a few years ago. A lot of pressure on his shoulders, albeit a much improved player. But alongside Chase, that was the backbone, especially against a second new ball.
Yeah, and the second new ball travelled. It didn't quite do as much as I thought England probably expected, and we were all expecting the ball to go up and down and go all over the place. Well, it didn't. The pitch played a lot better today than it had done on the first 2 days. The conditions were a lot better. The sun was shining. By the fact that both teams today used the light roller suggests that they both think it's going to go up and down on days 4 and 5, particularly day 5. And that's what England has to make sure that they get this game into day 5. They've got a perfect chance with the pitch playing okay. They're up against some high quality bowling from the likes of Kemar Roach, Shannon Gabriel, Azari Joe and the skipper Jason Holder. I'm sure Roston Chase will have to play a big part for the West Indies with his off-spin to give those bowlers a little bit of a breather. But, you know, from what I saw today, the pitch plays very similar tomorrow, which it should do really, with the conditions very similar. England should have enough, and they should have enough talent and enough discipline, and they should have learnt the lesson from the way the West Indies played today to have enough to bat tomorrow, and then we just see where we are tomorrow night after the day's play.
So the Windies all out 318 and England 15 without loss overnight. You're talking about that fourth innings. Dom Bess, the off spinner, you got two roles as an offie, don't you? Hold up an end in the first dig and rag it in the second dig. Well, part one he's done. He did his job today.
Yeah, he impresses me. I like him. I just think when you bowl off spinner and you don't have the mystery of the deuce through, or he has a slider, but you don't have much mystery. I think you've got to create mystery in your body language and the way that you present yourself to the batsman. Graham Swan did it for many years for England brilliantly, and I'm not saying that Dominic Bess is Graham Swan yet, but you know, he does remind me with his attitude and his energy and his body language that he likes the contest. So he's creating theatre around his deliveries. Today he did a perfect job, particularly after lunch. England in the opening session, particularly Archer and Wood, were poor. They bowled too short. And then it was down to Anderson and Best to grab the game and say to the captain, look, we'll hold an end. We'll make it hard for the West Indians to score. They did that. Anderson got the breakthrough. Then Dominic Best got the breakthrough. You know, so it was perfect partnership bowling. You know, I just hope England give him a long run of games in the team. You know, he bats well, he fields well, his off-spin's going to get better and better. He just needs a long, prolonged period in playing a test match cricket, and I'm sure he'll improve along the times that he's playing.
Speaking of players who love the scrap and love the contest, England stand-in captain today, Ben Stokes, his first full day in charge in the field. How did you assess the way he led the troops? And I guess the way that, as always, he seems to overperform with the ball. There's so much expected of him in that all-rounder slot.
Well, it was a typical Ben Stokes kind of day. He bowled averagely to start, then he got the wicket, the key one of Craig Brathwaite. Then he went missing. He had a load of tablets. The physio was running on. Big tablets came on. We didn't see him for a while. And then all of a sudden he grabbed the ball and he got a few wickets. It's a typical Ben Stokes kind of day. Look, let's be honest. He's led England for 2 years. He might not have had the captain's armband, but he's led England for 2 years. And tactically today, I thought he was excellent. I really did think that he used the off-spinner at the right times. He brought him out the attack at the right times, and he used him at the far end as well as the end that we're sleeping in, the hotel end. So I think he was impressive. I sometimes think the way that you kind of judge captaincy is how the captain assesses the spinner and the role of the spinner. And I thought he did that brilliantly today. He got his attacking fields right at the right time, and then he went on the defensive at the right time. In the morning, I don't think he was backed up with great bowling. I think there was, as I mentioned, 2 bowlers that just bowled too short. He'll know now that his job with the ball's done. Tactically in the field in the first innings done. In the second innings, England are going to need him with the bat. I think he'll need to get a decent score.
To go into the hotspot, Vaughan, it was actually before play. It was Stuart Broad's commentary on television about being omitted from the side. Of course, his old teammate James Anderson took 3 wickets today and did his job. But you reflected already upon the performance of Mark Wood. But it was quite sharp, wasn't it, the way that Broad responded to his omission? Yeah,
absolutely. And I was delighted for first and foremost, that he was allowed to give the interview and he was allowed to be honest and speak his mind. I like to see that players are allowed to say, you know what, I'm gutted, I'm angry. He's a senior player, and for me it tells me that the fire's still burning in the belly of Stuart Broad, and that tells me that he can play on this summer, obviously into the winter, potentially to next summer, and obviously to the Ashes in a year and a half's time. If a player of his stature and his experience is in front of a camera saying, oh, I can accept it, I can take it, I'll play next week, I know from my past experience of being a player that did retire that the fire's gone. His fire's still burning, so I think that's a good sign for the English team. Would he have added to the England performance this week? Yes. Have England got a vision for what's going to happen in the future? Absolutely. So I guess we in the media have got to be very careful of not being overcritical of what they've done this week, because we're always very critical in Australia. The last 2 times they lost 4-0, 5-time, when we say, oh, you haven't prepared a team to come and play in Australia. So we've got to be very careful of being too critical of the selection, but of course he would have improved England's performance this week.
It'll be fascinating seeing him next week at Manchester. Pressing fast forward, on 3 occasions in Test cricket, we learnt today on the Cricbuzz live blog, the West Indies have had leads of in excess of 100, only to lose the Test match. All 3 were against England. Vaughanie, what do England need to do tomorrow to put themselves into a position to win the game on day 5?
Well, don't even think about that. Don't think about winning, just bat the day out. Just break down the sessions, bat the first session out, see where you are at lunchtime, bat till tea, see where you're at, bat till the end of play. Look, they won't be able to score quick enough tomorrow to declare tomorrow, and they don't want to get bowled out tomorrow, because if they do so, you feel that the West Indies will win the game. But if they can bat tomorrow and see where they're at, bat probably an hour or so into the last day, you just never know. They might be able to give the West Indies a tricky 2 sessions to try and chase something or bat for a draw. There's a long way to go between now and then. This England side have a habit of collapsing. Let's be honest, in English conditions, they generally do lose a Test match to the opposing team. The West Indies are right in the box seat, and with their bowling attack, they're going to make it very, very difficult for the England team on the 4th day.
Well, the weather is going to be beautiful this weekend down in Southampton. This Test match is really nicely set up. Make sure you follow it all day tomorrow on Cricbuzz, and we'll be back at Stumps on Cricbuzz Chatter with Adam Collins and Michael Vaughan.